Welcome back to another edition of TN Toys. This time we can do a little bit of speculation in regards to the next HasLab, which is due to drop as of this video in about 2 or 3 weeks. So in February time, they will be announcing their next HasLab, following the Unicron, following the Starsaber, following the Deathsaurus, following the Omega Prime. Another Transformers HasLab. Now, there could be 101 different characters or playsets that they could draw from to give us this next HasLab. Now, those of you that follow the channel will know that I have sold off my Unicron. It's just too big. And by and large, I think it was a bit... This sounds so silly. But it was a bit lackluster. You know, they took away the battle station mode, which was designed for it. They didn't put it in there. They gave us these teeny tiny silly little stub figures in the Unicron. You couldn't transform it without removing the head. The ships that it came with could have been better. I think the details on them should have been better. And then they did a Galvatron to go with it. Behold, Galvatron figure later on as a selects release to go with it. But I think it should have come with it anyway. I would have preferred proper core-sized Galvatron and Rodimus Prime. Others would go, oh, they're not in scale. Unicron wasn't in scale. Shush. I just think there could have been a lot more that they could have done with it. And okay, he was in relative scale with the other. He was taller than Fortress Maximus, like he should have been. But overall, he just took up a lot of room, and he just sort of took up all the space in the collection. So he had to go. I've sold off my Starsaber. I've sold off my Deathsaurus. Now, don't get me wrong, I've loved all three of them, but Starsaber, he just had nowhere to go in the collection. I've got mostly sort of the G1 US characters and a sprinkling of other bits and bobs, but I just didn't want Starsaber anymore. And Deathsaurus, never even transformed it. I just had him on the shelf. Again, I loved it. It looked great, but he just was a bit out of place. Perhaps they were just a bit big next to Optimus Prime and the Megatrons. Yes, I know in the cartoons they are much bigger, but I would have preferred them if they're, I don't know. I don't know. I think I'd prefer them if they're a bit scaled down. So a standard release is probably more suitable for me. I didn't bother with the Omega Prime. Again, I thought he was too big. Looking at the Velocitron Scourge that they've done, the Sideburn that they've done, the tow line that they've done, the Omega Prime was just way too big. So I just felt that, no, it would not have sat well in my collection. I'd probably go for a standard release if they ever got round to doing that. And that draws us into who could be up next for HasLab. My top billing, my top guess and speculation is Primus. Because they're doing all the other primes. Again, not a thing that I love. I know I've said that before, but I don't love the idea. I don't like the concept of it. But we might get another Primus. Now, I kind of hope they do get the ultimate collection, the book collection design here, which is this one here, as the Primus design. Because I think it just looked, this image is so cool. It looks good. This looks like Primus to me. I know it sounds completely dumb to say that, but that's Primus in my eyes. But it's what I'm thinking of. What stretch goals do we get? Like, do we go down the Galaxy Force or Transformers Cybertron kind of thing, where he does actually have like a space station, battle station type mode, and then another angry planet mode, and then the standard planet with the cyber key, with the cyber lock thing? Do we get a figure of the last Autobot to come with him from the comic books, like drawing from all of the Primus mythology and history of the character into one big release? Again, it's not something I would personally want or pick up. I don't want to be paying 600 quid for it. It's just not me anymore. And then he probably won't even be that. He'd probably be closer to £800 now. So, but he is my top pick for Hasbro's choice of HasLab. I don't want it, but I can see him happening. And my second one, because of the Omega Prime thing, is you either want to call him Robots in Disguise Megatron, stroke Galvatron, or Car Robots Gigatron, stroke Devil Gigatron. Now, the issue here is, if they do a full 10-way transformer, or 11, you can do an 11th mode with the Devil one. And if you had the right sculpt of the Megatron, you can do it the same thing with that one. what do they do? Do they do the Megatron colours, which is actually the purple? So unlike the original Galvatron, he was the purple. Or do they go for the Devil version, which is the white? Unlike Megatron in the original series, he was white. So they swapped these around. Kind of like what they did with Galaxy Force and Cybertron. They did swap them around as well. But by the by, like, which one would you prefer if they were to do... I'll call him Megatron for the sake of argument. Megatron and Galvatron. Which one would you want them to do? Personally, I'd rather they did the Megatron. But in the TV series now, if I'm remembering this correctly, isn't the Galvatron meant to be a lot bigger than the Megatron? I know the Megatron dies and he gets reborn into the Galvatron, but a lazy Galvatron. But that seems to be the way that Hasbro seems to do it these days. A lazy Galvatron, just a recoloured Megatron. Which doesn't look like an upgrade to me. It's lazy. But again, that's a rant for another day. But what do they do for the stretch goals? If they're going to pick either one of these two, what stretch goals do you get? Like the sword weapons? Like, that's kind of his main weapon in the show. That turns into the staff. Actually, they're both depicted on this image here. Anyway, so they got the swords and they got the staff. You don't want that to be a stretch goal. You want him to come with his weapons off the bat. And one thing I did think of was maybe, if it gets to a certain amount, you get yourself a Dark Tai. Let's make it bigger here so we can see a Dark Tai. Now, she was in the sort of the Japanese mini comics that come with the Legends toys that were coming out. But I honestly cannot think of what they would do for stretch goals. Maybe a mini base, that the one that fights the Fortress Maximus at the end, a mini version of the base or something, or a Corsair. No, not a figurine, not a PVC, a core-sized transforming mini base. Because I'm done with this, like, just a little statue model. No, if we're putting money into these HasLabs, it's got to be a full-on transformer. If it's a transformer HasLab. But when I was thinking of the stretch goals, I couldn't actually think of any. Maybe that's poor on me, but I generally couldn't think of one. And then another guess. Again, this is probably less likely to happen, but he's a good candidate. Like, I'm not going to go over them all. He's just a good candidate. And that's Majin Zarek from Beast Wars 2. Again, great big aircraft carrier with tank treads. Who wouldn't want that? And this big... He's got like 3 giant cannons on his back when he's transformed. Like, how they'd get from that to that, I don't know. But it's something they could do. He's very different. He's like hunched over, like a dinosaur, T-Rex kind of model they could use. Maybe they draw from the Trypticon. I don't know. But again, what stretch goals would he come with? Would he come with a full-on core-sized figure of, technically Galvatron 3, because if we want to go down that route, the Galvatron from the Beast Wars. But then I was thinking, what else does he come with? Does he come with... Is it a space portal thing that he comes through? That I can't remember from the film. Thinking back now, does he come with a Burning Fire Optimus Primal, who appeared in the same episode as him? That's actually not a bad bet. We've already had the Optimus Primal figure, but we actually haven't had the... I don't think we've had the Burning Prime. If we've had the Burning Primal, and I've forgotten, put it in the comments, because I generally can't remember right now. But if they haven't done it, this is the perfect HasLab to put that in there with a core-sized Galvatron as another stretch goal. But the one that I'm most biased towards, the one I think is personally the most obvious of all HasLabs, is the Japanese character Leo Kaiser and Breast Force.
Boobies.
Yes, that's correct. Optimus Prime. We all like those too. Thank you very much. But yeah, Breast Force, or as they're now called, Chest Force, are 6 characters originally that combine into the character Leo Kaiser. So you've got Leo Zak here, Guy-Hawk, Hellbat, or Fellbat, as he's known in one of the games, Drillhorn, don't even try to say this guy's name, Jal Jaguar, or Jaguar, and Kill Bison here. Again, 6 characters that will merge into one. I'm not thinking Titan size. I don't want a Titan size combiner. They're trying to phase them out and put in these commander sized combiners that we're getting now. So I would like him to stand, eye to eye with the Devastator, eye to eye with the Menasor, and the upcoming Superion. But again, when we think of this character, we think of stretch goals. And what stretch goals could we get? Yes, they're breast friends. Yeah, that's right. I went there. Yeah, the breast components, which are also their handguns and weapons. So you do the stretch goal being their weapons. You can even do the spear thing that the combiner uses as his weapon. And then you've got the hawk, the lion, the bat, the rhino, the jaguar, and the bison as extra stretch goals. But again, you're taking away the weapons, and it's like they are breast force, and if they don't reach this stretch goal, then they wouldn't technically be breast force because they wouldn't actually have their boobs. But there we go. And then, so you could do that as a stretch goal, but my favourite stretch goals for this set would be 100% a full-blown Death Cobra to come with the set as a stretch goal. He is the official 7th member of Breast Force. And then we got the other official member of Breast Force, which was released in the Combiner Wars era, and that's, I think it's Ion Scythe. It's not Lion, yes, Ion Scythe. Now, as he's been a character in the Combiner Wars version, I'm like, hell yeah, stick him in there as a secondary weapon for the Combiner. I want to see this in there. You release him as an official partner character for that release. Add him into this release if you're going to do it. And then I thought, hold a minute. Leo Zack does have a sister in the old Japanese manga comics. Now they did do, I think they did a Leo Zack figure for one of the cons, one of the collector con type things, and they repurposed it so it could be the sister character, which they used the Energon Starscream mold as the basis to create the character. But I would definitely do, they could do that, the F-22 Raptor. You'd have to do the Starscream head, give her the proper Lioness head. Now originally she doesn't actually come with a breast partner. Can you believe it? The one girl character doesn't have breasts. There we go. Give her the breast, just make it a Lioness. It could even be a rejig of the Jaguar or the Lion from the other two characters. So yeah, give her a Lioness breast or Lioness chest and have her as another member. Now I did think, do you do it as a replacement top torso? But I think no, we should leave that as Leo Zack's place. He's the leader, he should always be the main torso. But if you want to take out the arms, then I'd say, yep, have two different arms with Death Cobra and Lyzak. And then from there, as a selfish European exclusive, that's right you guys, a European exclusive, do the 4 members of Rescue Force. Pick on the different colours that it did, because there were actually 2 versions of this European exclusive. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? And release the Autobot version of these characters. Just the 4, don't add in the other characters. Just do this as for them. Anyway, what do you guys and girls think? That was HasLab. Don't forget to love, like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys and girls when the announcement happens.